Hey everybody.
Hey man.
Welcome back to Andertons TV. It is January 2026. We're in the Fender facility at Corona. Facility. Everything. It's a factory. It's where custom shop is. It's where they do all the video production. When was the last time we were here?
2020.
2020. That was the pre-COVID spreading NAMM show. So yeah, if you haven't seen that factory tour, it might be worth you just refreshing your memory with that one. Mostly in this tour, we're going to sort of stop and look at the things that have been added since we did that last tour. But yes, Chris, who used to be director of Custom Shop and is now director of HR at Fender, is going to give us the tour. And we're starting in their design lounge, which is where we started in 2020 as well. Anyway, should we just get on?
Yeah.
Let's do this. So, we are in the wood warehouse.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to make a lot of guitars, you need a lot of wood. And you certainly have got it. The smell in here is... Every wood warehouse I've been to, whatever the guitar factory is, it's just like, it's just a beautiful place to work. But tell us, what are you sort of buying and storing here, and typically how long are you storing it before you're using it?
You know, this is essentially the number one asset for any guitar manufacturing facility, right? So we store all of our wood in here, whether it's coming from Pacific Northwest, India, Brazil, Africa. All exotic woods, all different types of woods are, kept in this facility, going through a conditioning process until they're at the correct temperature and humidity before they're put into the manufacturing cycle. You can see as you walk through, the stick stacking as, which is allowing the air to be basically circulated on all surfaces of the wood as it's drying and coming to the conditioning state that we need it at for ideal manufacturing.
Is Corona a good sort of ambient humidity and temperature for this, or is it a little dry here, or what are you?
It's definitely drier than other regions, just because we're in basically a desert. So we actually are injecting humidity into the system.
So the room itself is, it's a big warehouse, but it does feel fresher, I think, in here than outside. So that's what's just constantly happening, is that you're bringing all the stock in here up to a certain level of humidity.
Correct.
See, that's interesting, because a lot of places that you go, the reverse is happening. They're actually trying to remove moisture from the timber that they have, whereas you're almost trying to bring it back in.
We're definitely doing both. In the back, we have our conditioning rooms and kilns. And when we bring in green wood, it's actually pulling the moisture out of the planks. And then once it's in this storage, location, it is constantly being monitored to make sure that it's at the right humidity.
Are you grading wood for sort of use, whether it's going into a custom shop guitar, or is that happening in here, or is that happening further down the line?
It happens here. So, the builders, they'll come over and they'll choose their woods.
Cool.
We're storing it, with what we know based on the grading, whether it's going to be, a trans color or a solid color, whether it's for master built custom shop or just, special runs. We'll have those figured tops, figured pieces, set aside.
I've always been fascinated at how resistant the guitar world has been to ever even contemplating making a guitar out of anything other than wood. You get the odd, aluminium guitar or maybe a acrylic guitar, but it's really super niche, isn't it? Is that something Fender ever really would consider or have considered, like making like a resin style body alternative, or are you still feeling like wood is the way, and as long as it's kind of sustainable, keep going using real woods?
Yeah, great question. I think for us, it's all about the heritage, right? So, coming from the founding roots of what made this guitar and the legacy of it what it is, wood's always going to be the primary source for that. We do experiment, with resin guitars, other types of composite materials in the custom shop specifically, but nothing that has ever caught fire that we would.
It's a great use of word.
Probably the wrong word, but nothing that's ever really caught attention for us to think about doing it in a mass production way, just because of the wood attributes and the resonance that's coming from it, right?
Oh, look, I mean, as you can see some stuff here with some interesting figuring on it. I'm sure there's some amazing stuff in it. That's very pretty, isn't it? See, I always think, where's that going to end up? Is that half a billet? In other words, will that get split down here?
So we'll actually cut this much thinner
And then make
so that we can
veneers out of
laminate
this,
it
yeah.
veneer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go look at actually upstairs. There's a nice exotic woods.
Cool. Yes, the exotic bit. Wow, look at the thickness of some of these. How many necks are you like to get out of a piece of wood like that? Assuming that's what it's for.
That plank there is going to be about 3 to 4, depending
Right.
on the yield.
Yeah.
There's going to be some fallout and such, but about 3 to 4 from that piece there. When we bring the wood in, alder, which is coming from the Pacific Northwest, it's going to take 2 weeks to condition because it's coming from a similar environment, right? Whereas mahogany, it's going to take 4 to 6 months to condition into our
Wow.
conditions.
And that's because where it comes from, it's so...
And just the transport here and
Right.
the journey
and it
that
gets
it's
very,
taken.
too much moisture gets into
Correct.
the wood, right? But that you're buying it typically pre-cut to sort of, you can see that these are obviously going to make necks, these are going to make fretboards, some of the bigger billets are going to make bodies or whatever. So it's not like you're buying super raw.
It depends. We do. You can see here. So we do buy, full-on planks of lumber and then cut them to size for our needs. For our more typical, Indian rosewood, alder, we're procuring that from the, directly from the mill, working with them to make it into the sizes that we're going to need here on the factory side, right?
I always thought that would be if I was working for a brand like Fender or whatever, I always think that would be one of the coolest jobs, would be the person that has to go and find, have the relationship with all the lumber yards, because that must be an international role, right? You're just, it's wherever the wood is growing. If that's where you need it from, that's where you got to go and find it. So
yeah, actually, the gentleman who does that, he just came from Africa. He was looking at ebony plantations, right? Where they're sourcing that wood. We have good relationships with industry partners. We have good relationships with those mills, just so that, we are looking for sustainable resources that are available for this material, right?
That's the word now, isn't it? I guess just as long as the big manufacturers like you guys are being, are making sure the wood is sustainable, I think we should just carry on. It's a great resource to make instruments from.
Yeah, and we work on other projects like urban street projects where, trees that may be falling over, forests that, go through storms and the wood and the trees are actually unusable in nature. We will take those, and of course, landmarks and such, which I think if we go upstairs, we could show you exactly
cool.
Some of those specifics.
Oh, let's go and see those. I guess we're in a room now where all of the good stuff is kind of separated out. So this would be where presumably the custom shop builders will come and browse and see what they want to use to make their next pieces. Show me some of your most unusual, exotic bits.
Yeah, so as you go through, you'll see different planks that are used for
that is a lump, isn't it? That is a lump of quilted. Wow. So, and that's interesting. So that should have that figuring. You can kind of see on the lines on the side. That should have that figuring all the way through, right?
Correct.
So,
yeah.
And you wouldn't use that to make a whole body from, would you? Would you just try and make veneers from that?
We'll continue to make veneers from this material. This is one of more exotic pieces here. This is called plywood.
I was about to say this is
Home Depot.
This is the secret sauce in all custom shop strats, are sheets of MDF.
So when we are coming through our showcase, dealers here for the custom shop, we're actually creating lockers so that you can start storing the wood that is chosen.
That's one of the upsides of being an American dealer, I guess, isn't it? It's easy to get here and so they're choosing all of their stuff.
Well, the technology that we're putting into this room that's interesting is actually allowing the ability for international
cool.
wood sourcing as well. So we're installing cameras and such so that we can actually be all in the room together. Right?
Oh, that's exciting.
But you can see here some burlap or spalted maple.
I think this is still, as far as Mother Nature goes, I still think all of that sort of spalted and burled kind of diseased wood makes the most interesting looking guitars of all.
Agreed. Some roasted flame blanks here. So
I know it's going to sound like a daft question because we've been using roasted material for ages, but what is the roasting process for a lump of flame maple like that?
Yeah, so we have kilns, and we'll actually bring it up to a certain temperatures and keep it there at a steady temperature for long periods of time, so that we're not cracking the wood,
Right.
But actually getting it to these conditions which create that roasted effect, right?
And that's just just sort of discolors and darkens as a result of that. Well, look at it. We've got barrel tops here. Oh, yes. So there's got to be a story. Ooh.
Whiskey barrel tops there. So a lot of the wood, that we're procuring, it's coming from, strategic buys like that, right? Where, there's
cool. So you think that would have been a whiskey barrel, would it?
That's a whiskey barrel. I believe it's Jim Beam. Yeah.
It is Jim Beam.
You can see right there.
Oh man, that's so cool. Would you have any idea of are these sort of dated to a point where you go, is this 100-year-old whiskey barrels, or are you not sure on things like that?
No, we are. These would definitely be in that category. And then we have some wood that we got from the Halfpenny Bridge in Dublin. That's 200 years old. 1816 that bridge was, resurrected. And then when they did a refurbishment, we had the ability to procure some of that wood from that bridge. So that 200-year-old wood has such a history and story to it. How many people have crossed it? How many people have touched that wood? And now it's getting a second life as a guitar, right?
Oh, well, we'll give Diablo Guitar a shout out. I have to keep an eye on their website and see what they do with those. Oh, wouldn't that be cool if we could get some, some sort of Scottish whiskey manufacturing barrels, old sherry barrels or whatever like that, and then do something in the UK with those. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Matt, make it happen. So this is what hopefully will be coming to international dealers soon, where effectively there'll be a Fender person in this room, we'll be on the end of a Zoom call or whatever, and then they'll be getting all these kinds of interesting exotic pieces of wood. And if we want to make a Stratocaster, we'll put this overlay on it, or if a Telecaster or whatever, and then you can choose you can get a rough idea exactly whereabouts. Sometimes on these sort of larger billets, you might find the top of it's got the interesting bit or the bottom of it, so you just shift this around to get the piece you want. But yeah, and then we'll be able to say, no, this exact piece of wood we would like to use on a guitar, please. That's very cool.
Yeah, and
That's
I think the benefit from that is, you start picking the wood and sourcing it from the, the roots and literally the beginning of the stage. The story, once it is a guitar, is so much bigger than just another guitar, right?
100%. 100%. Cool. Well, so this is where it starts. I guess let's move on to I think the next bit we'll probably go through a little faster because it'll be similar to what you saw in the video from 2020, but we'll get a look through of where all of the raw materials go and they start cutting it up into guitar shaped looking things.
Yeah, let's transform it. So, still doing custom pick arts here. The primary, method of procuring or manufacturing the pick arts is with the stamp presses. However, when there's not justification for an entire tool die set, we'll do custom here, or if there's something just very unique or one-off, we'll do it on these machines.
I just look at all the different drill bits and tooling you've got, and oh wow, you can see it making it inside there now.
Yeah, so they're actually making bridge blocks, so Stratocaster trem blocks.
Can these machines make largely any metal part then, or plastic part for a guitar?
These machines can make pretty much anything in the world. I mean, they're used in aerospace companies, car manufacturers.
So you could cut wood in there as well as metal, depending on the
metal, wood. These are obviously set up to be cutting metal, as you can see all the coolant going everywhere.
Yeah.
For the wood, the ones that are retrofitted for wood, we don't need all the material spraying on it.
Oh, look at this.
So, original Leo days, post World War II press machines still being used today.
Oh man. So are you keeping these almost for sort of posterity's sake, or are you keeping it because it's really technologically just as effective to use this now as any other piece of equipment?
It's a little bit of both, but definitely it's because of the heritage of them.
Yeah.
I mean, just the idea of building the guitar the same way that it was done in the 50s and the 60s means so much to the end product than just, getting this from a manufacturer that could easily do this on a much more modern machine.
Are you sort of saying essentially any metal part on a Fender guitar out of the USA ever, that machine has been used to stamp it.
One of these six
There's 6 machines.
one of these
down
was
here.
used.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was one of the things when we went to the Gibson factory. The 335 press is the same. It's like there's one press. It's been there since the beginning. So if you own a 335, that press also would have done the one Clapton owned, B.B. King owned. It's like, so that's the deal, right? It's just every Jimi Hendrix's Strats would have been, the parts would have been pressed on these machines. It's like, it's so cool to think that.
And that's why they're still here. I mean, how could you give up that heritage, right?
I mean, what an amazing, the fact they still work. It's like,
I mean, we have a full team that keeps them
I bet you do.
up to speed, but and obviously they're retrofitted for safety standards of today's, workforce. But
it's so cool. Oh, and these are all the different templates then, are they? So you'd load one of these in depending on what it was that you were trying to make or stamp.
correct. So these dies are actually, we preserve these as well. So if we do a 1961 reissue of a Fender Strat, we're using the same die that was used in 1961 to make
brilliant.
that original parts, right?
I love it.
So-
I love it. Oh, wow, you've got so many of them. Look. That looks heavy, really heavy.
But you can see there, 1958.
Oh man, I don't know what this is used for, but we're just saying this. What do you call these? These are presses or these are templates or what
These
are they
are a die.
called? A die.
Yeah.
So that one is from 1958, and so that's so cool. It is a bygone era, this, isn't it? It's like that, the whole mechanicalness of them.
Plastic and metal. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the material for the pickguards, backplates, we're pressing that on here.
I
as
think
well.
in a way as well, I just think most people would assume nowadays that there'd just be a machine spitting out like a million of these at a time, but it's like they're done one at a time.
One
It's
at a
like,
time. Yeah.
It's crazy. You have hundreds and hundreds of these dies then, don't you?
Yeah, if you think about all the different configurations of
Yeah.
plates and jack barrels,
P-base covers. What's the final hand finishing going on here? Or is that maintaining parts?
that's maintenance on the die. Yeah.
Right. I guess that would be kind of sad if you had a die from the 50s and all of a sudden it got damaged to the point where you couldn't use it anymore. That would be like a really sacred,
Yeah.
bad thing to happen, isn't it?
I mean, even down to the saddles, every single one being hand polished.
So they start like that and they end up like that.
Another part that,
All
people
done
would
by
as-
hand.
people would assume it's just coming, taken for granted, right?
I love there's a story about on the old Telecaster bridges where half of it is polished and half of it isn't. And somebody said to me once, it was just Leo Fender going, well, when I put the cover on, you can't see the unpolished bit, so why waste the 20 cents or not even that of polishing that, just polish the half you can see. I kind of love.
But no one uses that plate.
Yeah, I sort of love.
No one uses the cover.
Right, exactly.
So-
So now everyone can see it, but
Yeah.
you still have this idea it's half polished, half sort of unpolished.
And those drill presses are original. They obviously have been, painted
Yeah.
to give them longevity, but
It looks like an old sewing machine or something, doesn't it? But it's like, it's so cool.
I mean, they were built to last back then.
They
weren't
certainly have lasted, haven't they? Amp chassis.
amp chassis.
Of course, I keep forgetting you're folding and pressing
Yeah,
all
so
of these
you can see
as well,
this
aren't
machine
you?
here is actually doing a couple things there. One, behind the scenes, he's welding some truss rods.
I mean, I know obviously Fender have made amps for as long as they've made guitars, maybe even longer. Is it the same kind of story? If you've got original presses and dies for making the amps, you're still using those on the reissue amps?
Yeah, I mean, the brake that's bending it has been modernized, I think, over time. In the original days, I would say that it was probably more of a manual process, just based on the volume. Something, one of the brakes was, being controlled by hand. This is modernized and maybe not the same one that was used in the 50s, but strap block there.
That's heavier than I thought it was going to be. That's nice.
And then as they come through, every single pickguard's going through that cell there and being hand beveled. So the edge on the bevel
So that's not done on a machine.
Not done on the machine.
I always assumed that the bevel that you get on the edge of a scratch plate would just be part of the process of cutting it. But this is all done by hand.
All done
just
by hand.
Bit of
So-
sandpaper. Wow.
So that, 45-degree bevel or 30, whatever it may be, all done by hand.
Is that because it's the only way to get the smooth finish still, do it by hand, or is it again just another sort of a throwback to how it's always been done?
Throwback. I mean, you could definitely achieve that on the machine.
Right. I like how they've mastered how to do like 20 scratch plates at
Yeah.
once.
They've learned a more efficient way to do it than
Yeah.
I would have done it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're in the, this is what you would call a wood shop now,
Yeah.
right? So all of that amazing wood that you saw earlier on, this is where it comes to be cut into a neck or a body. So yeah, just walk us around.
Yeah, so you can see, these were the blanks that we saw in the wood conditioning warehouse, maple blanks. As they go through the process, rosewood fingerboard is going to be laminated on top.
Oh, that's interesting. So you laminate the rosewood on before you actually cut the neck out.
Correct. These are old fire hose material presses that are putting a uniform pressure on the entire neck blank. So you're actually laminating the rosewood onto the maple before it goes into the process.
I'm fairly sure when we did a tour of some other guitar manufacturers, everybody's got their own, sometimes the boards are cut for the fretwork before they're put on the neck, sometimes like this. Is that just because you get a nicer, when you cut this into the neck, is that because effectively you're able to get a nicer edge and still a bit wet that glue, isn't it? Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're going to be able to blend it.
Yeah, blend it nicer.
You're going to be able to, put all of you can see here, this is hard to see, but this is maple on maple, right?
Yeah.
Which is more rare of a configuration. But you're also going to be able to hide all the truss rod, everything that's underneath
I was
the
going to
chassis,
say, on that
right?
one with the rosewood, is the truss rod already in there?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We'll see where it gets inserted
Okay,
there.
but on the necks where there's no skunk stripe down the back, presumably that has to be fitted before you laminate the board on top.
Yeah, because that's going to be a front load
Yeah.
truss rod. So you can see that neck blank being transformed into, essentially the raw configuration of a neck shape. And you can see the nice blend there between having that rosewood already laminated on, everything's already together, right?
This presumably has changed a lot since the 50s and the 60s, where I guess what would it have been like jigs and more sort of single, one worker per neck, kind of cutting them out on a jig.
Yeah, it would have been, this is, modern technology used to its finest for this application. The nice part about this factory is, the rough perimeter and everything's going to be cut here on the machine, but it's still going to go through all the process of being hand sanded.
Yeah.
Everything is, the back shape, everything's going to be hand sanded.
And even on these, there's like a great big kind of, put all the different drill bits as well, and they'll just cycle round to whatever it needs to do to get the cut you want, I guess.
Yeah, so you'll see the tool carousel going around and changing as needed.
It's so smooth that. I mean, I know I can see you obviously you're going to do it by hand to get the rolled edge, but that's very cool.
And here, they're going to be, you can see right here, inserting the truss rod, into the back.
I always think truss rods are a great mystery. It's the one part of the guitar that you almost never see. And is this, what's the sort of the technical term for this type of truss rod? Is it like a biflex or just it is? Yeah. So it really is, it's just anchored at both ends, and then I guess you can either tighten or loosen the rod. And
Yeah, so what you don't see is that channel underneath, it's actually has an arc to it, right? So when you put in the rod that's straight, it's under tension. So when you start moving it, it's going to be pushing or pulling, right?
How far back, I'm asking you probably a more generic guitar question now, but how far back does truss rod technology really go? Was that part of a Leo Fender kind of early evolution of the electric guitar, or is it a component that was used for many years before?
It's a great question. I don't know the answer.
Neither do I.
But it's definitely something that, matches Leo Fender's ideal, philosophy around making guitars. the reason that the neck and the body are separate is because he wanted them to be serviceable, right?
Yeah.
If you needed a new neck, if you needed a new body, you didn't have to scrap the entire unit, right? You didn't have to go to a luthier to change your neck, right? So the idea of a truss rod being able to adjust it based on the region is definitely something, you know, that followed Leo Fender's philosophy, right? Walnut, skunk stripe.
That's the skunk stripe.
And you can see as they go through, they're, you know, inserting every single one there.
It's cool. This is by far the noisiest part of the factory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you do a hard day's work in here, you definitely want to go and lay down for a minute.
You can see the folks, they're wearing ear protection.
Yeah, for sure.
But since we're just kind of gliding through, it's not necessary, but. Johnny Marr, Clapton,
Yeah.
Jimmy Page here. Edge, YouTube.
And it's this here because that final bit of sanding and finishing is done by hand. So you've really just got to know, like if you're trying to do a gym route, you've really got to sort of just know that that's the profile you're going for.
This is what we call golden sample, right?
Yeah.
So this is signed off by the artist, something that, you know, they've confirmed is, you know.
Because presumably must be quite difficult to give this like a measurement as such. It's almost like someone with experience has just got to know if that's the radius or not, you know, if that's the sort of the profile and the shape they're doing and how it goes from the nut through to the other end. They would just reference back to this and just get it right, I guess.
When we do like a reissue of a guitar that's been in the world, right? We'll actually take fret wire and bend it around different profiles here and draw them out so that we can create this arc, right?
Yep.
That is the back shape. From there, once you create that sample, if you have a physical sample that you can feel and touch, you know, you can compare apples to apples, you know, A and A, make sure that it is feeling the same, right? And then as you come through, you can see every single face dot inserted by hand. Another, you know, small aspect of the guitar that I don't think, you know, the normal customer is going to realize is, you know, effort that we're putting in.
Where the
right?
dots are sitting slightly proud here, that's just they're waiting to be pressed in, are they?
They're just waiting to be pressed in, yeah.
And then is it planed off again to get the finish?
Yeah, so these may just be larger, right? So once they're pressed in, they protrude past the neck material.
Yeah.
But once we go through the next process, they'll be sanded flat.
Yeah.
You can see a better shot here of that laminated board on the maple.
And you're saying within here, this is whether it's destined to become a custom shop guitar or whether it's destined to become part of the American line, effectively, this is where the initial part of the woodworking is done.
Yeah, so the main variance between custom shop and product line 10 is that the route that we just took around the outside perimeter is the PL10 US made manufactured guitar. Custom shop is in the center here.
Right.
Although they follow a very similar process.
Right.
The minute it's going into a back shape or any sort of profiling, it's done by hand.
Oh, we're starting to fret the guitars here.
So this machine here is going to go through a series of putting the fingerboard radius on. So if you look at a blank that's over there versus a blank here, you're basically creating that profile there.
All right, so you've got, if you like, you've got
a series of different grits to basically, you know, going from rougher to finer.
But that metal plate that's being pressed down, you must load a different one on if you want to do a different radius. And if it's a compound radius board, is it still essentially it's a different one of those metal things, but it will have been pre-shaped to be a compound radius?
Yeah, correct.
It's so smooth when it comes out.
Once it goes from there, it's going to go into the gain saw. It's going to get all the frets cut. So if you look in there, as this neck's rolling around, you know, all 21, 22 frets, depending on the guitar, are going to be cut at the same time.
This looks like an old machine as well.
Yeah.
Is this another one that potentially has been used for many years?
And then, of course, now we have the opportunity to start fretting the neck up. They're inserting them by hand, and then these presses are, doing the final pressure to get them into the next set.
And then are the ends cut off by hand?
Cut off by hand and then shaped by hand, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, here we go around here. And there's the fret wire. Wow. How many miles of fret wire do you think you get through a year here?
I'd love that. To know that,
Thousands.
yeah. Yeah, the only, for most of the vintage wire, we're going to be cutting it by hand. Anything that is pre-radius, we get that from the vendor, and sometimes the stainless steel frets are going to come from the vendor.
So same kind of idea now, but obviously doing the bodies rather than the necks.
Right.
That's actually a pretty similar looking machine, isn't it, to the one that was doing the necks?
It is, yeah. It's the same concept, same manufacturer of the machine. This one has 2 heads versus the one we were looking at earlier had, I believe, 4 or 6.
Mm-hmm. What happens to all the sawdust? Because I mean, they've just a lot of sawdust, isn't there?
Yeah, so these air ducts,
Yeah.
they're actually collecting all that dust, and then we have companies that are picking it up and recycling it.
And it's reusable for other purposes. This is how I kind of feel like in the olden days, you would have just had jigs and templates like this, and then people would have just used hand.
The Masterbuilders are still doing it that way
Are they?
on most of their product. Specialty, especially, they're going to have their templates. They're going to go through on the pin router and do it by hand, right? So the same concept that machine's going around, they're guiding the body around and actually, following the template.
So each master builder can kind of, they've got their own kind of vibe of what all the edge radiuses would be. That'll be their sort of secret sauce.
They all have the access and ability to use the pin routers and sort of, do custom templates if they need them.
I bet there's some old ones of these around as well, aren't there? So that would be cool. This is the most important tool in the whole warehouse. It's what they use when...
So once you pass this wall, you're going to start seeing everything being done by hand. So all the hand sanding, the manual process that goes into every body and neck.
I mean, you obviously must, in your new role, start to get to know the people a little better here. Are there a lot of guitar players in here, or is it just people who are like used to doing woodworking as opposed to guitar players, or a bit of a mix?
It's definitely a mix. One of the cool things that we do as a company is we actually have events for the employees where they can form bands, or if they have a band, they can come and we'll rent out a venue.
Yeah.
And we'll have 30 bands playing. So a lot of them are musicians. They love the product.
Yeah, that's cool.
Some of them, maybe aren't as familiar with where these products are going or what they're being used for. And they're just more, this is woodworking and this is just their skill, right?
I know what always fascinates me when I see guitars being made is how you do the binding. Now, obviously on Fender, there's not a huge part of the catalogue is bound, but where you've got a deluxe telly or something where you're binding the neck or the body, is this what's happening? Well, these are necks being done here. It's all still done by hand,
We're
right?
doing it by hand. You'll see them going around with the glue and the tape. That's a channel bound neck with double binding. And then on the bodies, the same concept, going around and taping it as they press it into the...
So that binding is sitting proud of the fretboard. So once that glue is dried, is there another process then to sort of cut that binding back down to size?
Correct. It'll go back into a machine and get leveled out.
It's so much more labor intensive. Guitar building is so much more labor intensive than I think most people would assume.
On average, there's about 150 hand processes that go into making the guitar.
Yeah, that's cool, man. How's it going, man? Buddy? Thank you very much. With you? Of course. Thank you, sir. Take it easy, man. Thanks for making such great guitars.
This room, every single body that is made out, and it comes out of this factory, comes through this room. So this is intermediate sanding. They're sanding every stage. When we apply paint to the product,
Yeah.
we're leveling it at every single stage to make sure there's no defects.
That fine thing that you can see in the air, that's that every guitar factory I've ever been to, when you get to this point, it's that sort of buffing. I don't even know what the product is that's coming off, but it's like a super fine
Dust.
dust of some sort, isn't it? Wow, this is okay. So I remember this now, because you have the most enormous conveyor belt on the ceiling, don't you? Sort of going round as products are drying.
Yeah, so once it's finished and, curing in the paint environment, it's going to come through a series of lines here that allow the buffing process and get it to that mirror-like finish that you're accustomed to seeing, when a guitar is hanging on a hook in a store, right? So once it goes through that buffing process, this will be completely smooth, gloss-like finish, which is, essentially the hardest part of, manufacturing guitar in California is painting wood and buffing it without destroying what you've done to it, right?
Yeah. You can see on these, you can just feel that sort of slightly rough finish that's obviously didn't got to go through on the buffing wheels.
Hasn't gone through the process
Yeah.
yet. And then we can kind of take a glance into the paint here.
We're not going to go in here because with all the spraying going on and the contamination that happens if we keep opening doors. But if you see through there, all the men and ladies in white suits looking like nuclear scientists, that I guess is where all the spraying is being done.
Right. So if you go farthest past through those last set of double doors, that's where the spray booths are, and where they're actually applying the paint.
And are you doing a mix of the sort of the polyurethane and the nitro through there, or is the nitro generally done elsewhere in the facility?
No, they're done in different booths, but they're all done on that back wall.
In that area.
Start of the conveyor here as they're loading up the bodies.
I need one of these for my house. That's the only way I can get all the guitars on the wall that I own. I have to have a conveyor belt that takes it around. That is nuts, though. What a brilliant idea. Great use of space, I think, isn't it? Just to sort of, you need somewhere to hang hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guitars, so why not just hang them above the workshop that you've already got?
Yeah, so once they're hung on there, the body's already dry. There's no, risk of contamination. It's already gone through our series of ovens here that are...
So that's a good point, right? Because I was there, clearly there's too much stuff in the air for the guitars to be going around the conveyor belt when they're not completely cured and sort of sealed. So what is the purpose of them going around the conveyor belt then, if they're already dry?
It's space, vertical space, keeping them off the ground where they're going to be damaged.
Oh, so it's just storage, really? Oh,
yeah.
I always thought there was... I always thought there was another sort of reason, if you like, almost whether it was just humidifying or drying or whatever.
No.
But
Yeah.
Amazing. Just storage. Wow. Well, why not? I suppose that's the one thing you want to avoid after you've gone through all that effort to make and spray the guitar. The last thing you want is for them to get to final assembly and go, oh, that one's been damaged. That's got a dent in it.
Exactly. That's what we're,
Oh, wow. Look at these.
as a factory, striving to avoid, right?
That's a cool color.
Jackson.
Yeah, of course, you've got Jackson, Charbel. Much Gretsch stuff coming out of here, or not
Gretsch
really?
Masterbuilt.
Yeah. Wow. So is this more spraying going on in here?
That's another series of ovens and then spray booths behind it, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen this many guitars in one place in my whole life. What's your favorite color, Strat?
I'm a big aged Fiesta Red guy. I like that, or, to be honest, surf green. Just a sucker for surf green.
I've got to go.
I mean, this color here is just something about it.
Yeah.
Just for me is timeless, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you on the aged Fiesta Red, but then I'm a big. I like the sort of off-white with the taut guard.
Yeah.
Or even like a Sonic Blue with the tortoiseshell guard as well.
Yes.
It's just a great color, isn't it? Does this just sort of
constantly move, or is there a sense of it sort of does like one rotation and then by the time it gets to the end it should be ready for assembly or anything like that?
I'd like to say that it was that scientific, but
Yeah, it's just somewhere for it to be, and then
we've come a long ways. Our planning team knows exactly where these bodies are sitting because we have a numeric system that shows where the conveyor is and where they're being stored. And then they're planning the factory, right? So it is to that degree they're coming through, and then we know this, cluster of bodies is here.
Yeah.
And we're going to pull them onto the racks and set them through the system. We're going to do prep, so for necks and bodies, prepping them to go into final assembly. So this is where they're being matched. So the necks and the bodies are going through the factory in different paths, right? And then they come together at this stage, to be joint, connected as a guitar, right?
and I suppose that's where the accuracy of the pocket on the body and the shape of the neck is so critical to be spot on, so that any neck will fit anybody without any sort of micro hand sort of adjusting of the size.
Exactly. I mean, this is where the science and the art sort of come together, and the science around making it predictable and repeatable meets the art of what a guitar is, right?
Are these finished guitars in here, are they?
These are finished necks. So
right.
if you were to
if
you were to open these, you could see
right
necks, and then once it goes into here, the kits that are coming from across the way are also matched with their respective neck and body. And then it goes through a builder, tune tester, and inspector. Every single guitar is inspected before
That's nice. This is where you get the sneak previews of guitars that maybe aren't even out yet. Maybe it is, I don't know. Look at that. I love that sort of matte green with the black hardware. That's very cool.
So you can see here, builder, tester. And
They're doing a
then-
Jack White. Cool.
Captain!
Hey man, how are you? We're just admiring the fine work that you people do.
My name's Edward.
Hey,
I'm an
Edward.
inspector here.
That's great. Thank you very much for.
We're the last stamp on the card.
No, that's super important. And in fairness, it is a high benchmark, isn't it? The Fender stuff that come out of here. So that's very cool. So here you are. This is your final line of defense to make sure that what arrives with us is as good as it should be. So, which it invariably is. So good job. Hey, it's nice to meet you. Yeah, good to meet you too. See you soon. Oh, thank you very much. We couldn't do it if you didn't make the guitars. So thank you very much. Oh, it's so cool, man. It doesn't matter how many guitars I've seen in my life. You always have the ability to go, oh, we could try this color combination. Then all of a sudden it just reignites.
One thing you'll notice here is it's not just a series of, black or red Strats coming through the line.
Look at that.
It's a jelly bean factory, right?
I'm going to tell you the serial number of this guitar, and then maybe you'll end up owning it. It is US 250-35277. And if you own this guitar, that is stunning looking. Very, very cool. I'll be careful with it.
75th anniversary of the Telecaster there.
I wonder if Leo ever envisaged that being how his Telecaster design would be interpreted 75 years after he came up with the first one.
I mean, if you look at it, sitting side by side,
Yeah,
you have the classic,
yeah.
right, matched with the modern, right? I mean, this is your ultra modern, ultra version of a Tele, right?
And in some degrees, I love how sympathetic to the original design you always keep it. And it's just testament to how many things Leo got right. Like, in 75 years, no one's come up with a better way of designing a headstock for a Telecaster. No one's really come up with a better way of laying out the controls and the basic outline of the guitar. And then in other ways, there are things you can, the contoured heel joints and different kinds of pickups, changes to the way the bridge is made. It's such an enduring, the Tele and the Strat are just, in life, they're just such enduring designs, aren't they?
There's not many examples
No
in the
parallels,
world
really, are
that
there?
you could say the first design is still the best design, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but you're absolutely right. There is, the minute you try to change this headstock, something feels
Yeah.
not right, right? This
Yeah.
is organic. Everyone knows what that is and they understand it.
I don't even think it's. I mean, you're right in that it would be like sacrilege to change the headstock. But what I mean is, like, what could you even do to improve it? He worked out that the strings had to go through the nut straight. He got the break angle right. He got. It looks great. He got the weight right. It was like
Him not being a player, and I think, you know, for me, one of the inspirational things that Leo did that can inspire all of us is he understood he wasn't the expert in the room, right?
Yeah.
He knew there was a design. He knew that there was something that needed to be constructed here, and he reached out to artists. He reached out to friends and designers, and he collected all of these ideas and actually listened.
Yeah.
And then used all of them to, you know, essentially form what is, you know, a timeless design, right?
This was, if you were in the video earlier where I was saying to Chris, this part of the bridge isn't polished and this part is polished. And this is Leo Fender's idea of just saving a few cents by not polishing this, because there would have been a cover over this, so you would never have seen this bit. But then, of course, people soon realised the cover actually gets in the way most of the time. I don't know, I just love the fact that no one's ever gone, you know what, let's polish it now, because, like, it's just how it was. I love it. Anyway, look at all these guitars.
Every guitar is, other than custom shop, is packed here. And we'll actually head to more of the custom shop side of this before we head across the lot to where we're doing the sub-assembly. This is more maintenance, so this is how we're keeping all the machines running, having backup motors, having backup parts.
Some of these, like, from a bygone era as well.
Oh yeah. Some of these machines, you know, it's hard to even find the parts to
I bet.
keep them up to date, right?
For sure.
So you can see in here, this is essentially the area where we saw the conveyor.
Yeah.
This is the parallel to that for custom shop, right?
So these are all your traveler sheets, aren't they? Which
These are all traveler sheets that every single neck in here, you know,
Yeah.
it's going to have a corresponding body with the same configuration.
Yeah.
Once, you know, 51cc body is put onto the rack, we know that we can pull it in, send it into final assembly, right? So, you know, as you look through here, you can see, you know, an absolute assortment of uniqueness from a lost paisley all the way to, you know, seafoam green.
Oh yeah, where's
Sunburst.
Pete? Look at that. This is I'm not sure I've seen that combination of the blue paisley with that sort of gold material underneath it of some sort. That looks
Yeah, that's
cool.
the paper that Brad actually is manufacturing himself. So he, you know, he got that paper from the original one from, you know, an old armor case. And then he went on a journey to get the machines to actually manufacture that paper again. So we're working with him. He manufactures the paper, we build the
Wow.
guitars.
I don't think I've seen that particular Brad Paisley in the flesh before. That's so cool. Oh, look at that double bound pink paisley. Oh, look at all this. Anyway,
So
just thanks for showing us this. This is super cool. We're going to go into a room now where the relicking goes on, and Fender, just like Gibson and lots of other companies that do this, are very secretive about all the exact processes that go into how the relicking is. So we're not going to film right, we're just going to film left. Yeah. But this is essentially where that kind of relic magic happens.
yeah.
There's what you're saying is that's the car park that you just drag the guitars around the back of the car and then make them call them relics, and that's the secret you're not allowed to see.
Yeah, it's access to the parking lot there. So, you know.
That is a Matt Davey signature guitar, this one, isn't it? Basically, that's his dream guitar. Floyd Rose, Seymour Duncan bridge pickup. I've never seen so many blue paisley guitars in one place. Oh. There's Pete Honore's dream Telecaster. You're desperately looking for an Andertons time traveler, aren't you? Or traveler sheet.
That would be great, but
It's fine. I think we did find a couple last time we were here, but it's just luck. Oh wow, look at the aging on the top of that gold Cabronita. That looks so cool. This is always one of the nice stops on a Fender tour, because This is where all the Masterbuilders, like the highest level that you can achieve, I guess, at Fender in terms of building guitars are. So it's always nice to see who's in today and say hello. David, we just saw.
Tonight.
Who's down here? Dale, Greg, see. This is like the corridor of legends. Kyle. I thought Dennis, Yuri, Todd.
You got Levi
They're all-
here. You passed him up.
Oh, I didn't. I thought this was the corridor he was in, but his name wasn't outside the door.
It's more of a speakeasy. It's got the.
It's like a secret thing. Is he likely to be in?
He's in the master lab. No, he's not in.
Oh, he's not here.
the
It must be lunchtime or something, or they've all gone down to the show. Oh, yeah, he's a very tidy little booth today. This is what always blows me away. Is I suppose most people will have a guitar hero or somebody that inspired them to
Yeah.
play, and obviously if they played, if they're someone like a Jeff Beck or an Eric Clapton, or to sort of feel like this is now where those guys would have met their preferred master builder and had sort of conversations about how they wanted their guitars to be, and just the idea that just like a guitar fan can go, well, would you build me a guitar as well, please? We'd be like, sure. It's
Yeah.
like it's a crazy thing to think that that's an option, albeit one with a price tag on it as well.
You really never know where the story is gonna. This could be one of the guitars on this rack could become one of the most iconic instruments in the world, right? Because we don't know
For sure.
what journey it's gonna go on, what record it's gonna
Yeah.
be played on, what artist is gonna
Well,
pick
it always
up. Right?
amazes me when you talk to the master builders here. They'll always have somebody that they're working with at the time that's doing something, and you'll be like, wow, and I mean somebody as in another guitar hero.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just for these guys. That's just what they do for a living, right? So it's not sort of.
I think on the surface level they would come off that way, but they definitely
Oh, they're excited too.
they're excited.
Yeah, for sure.
We try not to fanboy out too much, right?
Now, last time we came, none of this was here.
Yeah, that's right.
And you were just saying that the building we were just in is about 170,000 square feet, and then this building is adding another 100,000 odd square feet on top. So we're going to see where the small metal parts are made. We can probably just do a look down here, but it's still amazing. Are you sort of 90% of the parts that you need, you're just making them here, are you, rather than just ordering them from another manufacturer? Or is it more of the specialist parts that you've got here?
No, that's correct. I mean, we're procuring all the parts ourselves in-house. The main components that we're not going to manufacture in this factory are like the tuning keys, strings, a lot of the electronic components. These machines, they run like clocks, right? So they're like really fine-tuned watches.
Yeah.
So you go through and you program them with these, configurations here, and that's how they're actually programmed.
Wow.
These are old screw machines, and these machines are one of those components that are really hard to find replacement parts for in the industry, just because they're extinct, right? But all these little
you wouldn't think, would you say this? So forget using a computer program to program what you want to use these machines for. You would insert a combination of these keys, I suppose they're like, and then this will determine what these machines will, how they'll, engrave or mill or cut the metal components that you need.
Yeah,
That's such an old school. Chris was just saying, obviously, just keeping these machines running is an art in itself. But I guess even just finding the personnel to understand how these machines work. But you've obviously seen this is the machine that's cutting the brass saddles.
and you can see it's being fed. The tube's being fed from it.
From all that great big long tube is feeding the actual brass tubing.
It's feeding in, and then you go through the entire, all the indexing that those little keys are creating is creating the program that is letting it know what to do, right?
That's amazing. So you guys have seen, obviously, guitars being made. We're going to see now more of the electronics vibe of it. So we're going to see something about pick guards and pickups, but also quite a bit of the assembly of guitar amps as well. How much? Because I wasn't sure which range of amps come out of Corona then, as opposed to Mexico or the Far East. Is it sort of the custom shop tube amplifiers and things like that?
Yeah, all the vintage tube amplifiers are going to come out of here.
Right.
Hand wired amplifiers. That's what's mainly coming out of Corona. So all the sub-assembly goes down this line.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of going backwards here,
Are
but
we winding them
we're
here?
winding
right,
them
okay.
here.
Got
Yeah.
it. I mean, this is an art. I wound a set of pickups once myself, and it's like it does require a very steady hand, and a you know, particularly I think if you're trying to do some of those sort of cross,
Yep.
what do you call, like a sort of the weave style on there? Yeah, it's
It's an underappreciated art for sure.
yeah. And again, some of the most famous Fender employees of all time would have been on the pickup assembly line, wouldn't they?
That's correct. I mean, if you think about a custom shop guitar, every single master-built guitar is coming from either Abigail or Josefina, right? They're the sole
Yeah.
winders of those guitars. And then we
That's
can
mad.
walk this way through the amplifiers if you'd like.
This is smaller than I thought it would be, but I guess it's a fairly small percentage of the total Fender amp range is coming out of here, right?
Correct. So you have all your hand-wired, vintage, accurate replicas coming out of this line.
See, I get the vibe that this process probably hasn't changed a lot in 75 years
it's
either.
purposely stayed the same, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because when you do a reissue of that amplifier, you
Yeah.
want it to be exactly
Yeah.
how it was done when it first launched, right? I mean, this entire board could
Yeah.
be manufactured into a small chip, of course,
Why would you want to do that though?
but you'll never get the same feel that you're going to get out of something like this, right?
I love this sort of, I love the idea that, because I think to a certain extent you can sort of go, you can understand when you play a guitar and you sort of, you know, if you understand the acoustic
Yeah.
of like an acoustic guitar and what's vibrating and stuff, but the sound of an electric guitar and especially overdrive and all the sort of magical, it's like, it's that, isn't it? And I'm always fascinated with just an engineer's understanding of, you know, how each different component will affect it and what it'll do. And then of course, you know, how valves overdrive and all that. I just think it's, for me, these are as much musical instruments as, you know, guitars and basses are.
Yeah, and if you start really getting into it and pulling apart pedals and things like that, you
Yeah.
know, old pedals, and seeing the engine that's under the chassis, right? And really seeing the configuration of putting the combination of this capacitor with this resistor, with that, you know,
Yeah.
it's amazing, to your point, like the engineering that goes into it for someone to understand how that's going to impact the sound that's coming out the
Yeah.
other end, but at the same time keeping it with just such, you know, simple components, right?
And another, you know, we talked, you know, about how Leo got it so right in the, you know, 50s with Strats and Tellys. There's arguments of just going, if you've got a Fender Deluxe or a, you know, or a
Yeah.
Bassman or something like that, you've got a perfect guitar amplifier as well.
Yeah.
So many cool things. So many cool things. Chris was just saying that the cabinetry and the wrapping in the Tolex is done elsewhere, and then obviously you can see that the actual amp is fitted inside it. But I just thought, I'd never actually seen inside the back of, that's the Jack White Panaverb, so I'd never even seen inside the back of that, but that's an unusual speaker combination. Looks kind of cool. And then in those black sort of standalone little rooms there, that's where every single amp gets a test. What is it, like a 20-minute test or something before it gets boxed up and shipped out?
And it's
But-
going to go through every configuration a
every
user
single.
will.
Yeah, it's nice and quiet in here as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I always thought another dream job would be to be the amp testing guy, but then I don't know, maybe after your 1000th amp that you've tested, it's just like, I'll do something else now, please. Well, we've kind of reached, you've seen the sort of the journey the guitar's on, you've seen a little bit of a glimpse of how the amps get put together.
So I think we've kind of reached the end of our tour, and now is the time where Pete and I get to go to Fender's unbelievable studio and film some of the new guitars that Fender have coming this year. But Chris,
Hey, pleasure.
it's an amazing tour. Thank you for your knowledge and your insight into how all this is put together. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, I always end up going, just the amount of labor that goes into making musical instruments is just amazing, but cool too. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Stay tuned. More videos coming soon. See you later.